Well, I guess we should start here. I'm not sure if we should just start Living Legends style and just roll into it with no
have
proper
whole previous conversation in there.
yeah, just have us talking about cyberpunk and whatever else we were talking about. Well, how's it going, everyone? And welcome back to well, it's not really welcome back. This is not the Living Legends podcast. Today I'm joined by two of my best friends in Flesh and Blood, the Azalea cult. I guess they're here on my screen here. The Azalea cult. We have Az from Go Again Gaming, and you may recognize him from Go Again Gaming, but also from the Living Legends podcast. And then we have Jim, who you also might recognize from the Living Legends podcast as
mentioned,
not Bill's brother. Yeah.
Exactly.
And together, well, and together they form the heads, I guess you could say, of the Azalea cult. I don't want to say they form the Azalea cult because I feel like the Azalea cult is more of a widespread kind of thing among
it was a grassroots creation.
Yeah, grassroots cult, cult with I was a cult with a K, but no, this one, hashtag Azalea cult is spelled with a C. So yeah,
but it's nice as well because for those who don't know, the Azalea cult is on Go Again Gaming, and I recently recorded a video with Justin, who won the Azalea. Well, not the Azalea, but the Calling Taipei with Azalea was won by Justin, which we'll go into in a minute. But it's
consider him winning her as well, actually.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
yeah. He's the foremost champion of Azalea at this point in time. But that's basically what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about Azalea, the character of Azalea, her history. We're not really going to go super deep into the deck tech for that. In fact, if you'd like to see that, Az on Go Again Gaming, like he said, posted an interview with the winner, and so go watch that video if you want more information on the deck, because they go really into it. I watched it, and they go into detail with that. So today's video, not really that. We're going to talk about it, give our thoughts on it, but we're mostly going to talk about like the history of Azalea, the characters, maybe our thoughts on the deck, all of that kind of fun stuff, because Azalea, if you didn't know, used to be like the meme hero. When Flesh and Blood first came out, when Arcane Rising first came out, Azalea was the joke character. Ranger was the joke class. Everyone was like, Ranger can't win to save their life. I've even said people were like, merchants more powerful than Ranger. Like I've seen stuff. And in today's current meta, just in case you're watching this maybe in the future and maybe things have changed, but currently now Ranger's actually one of the scariest classes in Flesh and Blood, which is really, really funny, which is why I want to talk about this. Because I remember I saw someone post on Twitter, I don't know who it was, but they were like, Ranger broken class, and that just made me laugh so hard because like Ranger broken class, like
if you just seen that a few months ago, exactly.
I mean, imagine seeing that like in Arcane Rising, right? If they said Ranger broken class, it would have meant a different thing. It would have meant the class is unplayable. Like you can't play with it. So that's what we're talking about today.
I think a reason for that is because Ranger cards are very good. Arrows, if they hit you, normally there's on hit effect. And the reason why the attacks are so good in Ranger is because you don't have a weapon to use, right? So they were always gated behind it. But now that there's a lot more consistency, which we'll go into when we touch on the list that Justin's got, makes Azalea a lot better now, and Lexi even more so, because obviously of Voltaire and all this. But we won't go into that too much.
Yeah, I mean, Lexi's problem, I don't think, is because of Lexi herself. It's because of, and I think Brian Gottlieb talked about this on our most recent Living Legends podcast. If you're watching this in the future, it's the podcast where we talk about bright lights around the table. But he mentioned action point economy, and that's what Lexi. So basically Voltaire. To boil it down, it's basically Voltaire and having more action points than she should have, and that's traditionally like Flesh and Blood's like what makes a character quite broken, with Chain, with like when Briar was kind of nuts, there was like the Cheerios Briar, obviously like Luminaris, that kind of stuff. And so like Voltaire, not quite Luminaris, but it's close, it's pretty good. You would know if Azalea had access to Voltaire, kind of like how the Rune Blades had access to Rosetta Thorn, and I'm not bitter at all. She would have been like insane. Like, because let's get real, like Azalea's specializations are way better than Lexi's specializations. In fact, I've said this from the start, like from when Azalea first was like revealed, and I was one of the people who did that. I revealed one of the specializations, Knock the Death Whistle. I was saying like she has like some of the best in the entire game. And I don't think that's like a hot take or debatable. Like Red in the Ledger is insane, and Knock the Death Whistle is also kind of insane. On
multiple levels too. We actually, Az and I had talked about this on one of the earlier Azalea Cult episodes, where it's, yes, they're just mechanically that good, but they're also like so on theme with her that it makes them just badass.
Yeah, I mean they're awesome. Like they're very, very cool. And I guess we can talk about at this point maybe a little bit of our personal histories with the character and you know where we've come from. I'll go first just real quick because I think your guys is going to be a little bit longer. And I've already kind of told a little bit of mine. So I've loved Azalea since she was first spoiled. I actually got to see her in advance because to spoil Knock the Death Whistle, they also gave me some images. Like they gave me like the character card and Death Dealer and Searing Shot. So they're like, hey, you need to know how this character works before you could talk about the Knock the Death Whistle. And so I got to see her in advance, and I was like, oh, she's really awesome. I'm pretty sure I said it in that spoiler video. Don't go watch it, by the way. That video sucks. It's really bad, but I think I say I'm like I love this character and I want to play with her, and she's gonna be like one of my mains. And so yeah, she's been a favorite ever since. And like I said, she's also been the joke character for a very long time, up until up until Outsiders. I would say.
Do you want to hear my stats quickly?
Yeah. Do you want to do that before or after you do your little intro, like over your history?
I'll chuck them in now because it's fairly loose, and I think it's going off the back of what you said there with regards to when she became good, right?
Yeah.
So we'll touch on this in a bit. I don't know. As I said, it's fairly loose, but Justin's list, right? 72 cards, obviously not including the equipments and stuff. 68% of those cards in his list came from aria sets and afterwards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So 68% of the cards in his deck came from aria and afterwards.
I can tell you which cards
came from crew. Yeah, I bet you can. There's a whole play set of them in there which are ridiculously good, which are used in Lexi as well.
I could also
came from crew.
I could tell you which cards came from Arcane Rising and crew. I bet.
Yeah, probably. And then 25% came from Arcane Rising and Welcome to Wraith. So, you know, that's why Azalea was so bad back then, because only 25% of the cards came from when she was actually released.
Yeah. Yeah, and the cards are for sure. Let me guess. I don't have the deck list in front of me. There's E-Strike, a generic card. There's Remorseless, Knock the Death Whistle, and Red in the Ledger, and then maybe Searing Shot. I don't remember if the deck is running Searing Shot or not. I know Lexi runs Searing Shot.
Yeah, there's one Searing Shot in the list, but yeah, even Remorseless was from crew. So even Remorseless wasn't even in Arcane Rising. So Arcane Rising featured like Red in the Ledger, Not a Death Whistle.
Endless Arrow? Does she run Endless Arrow?
No,
not in this list.
Okay.
CNC and E-Strike. Those are the only cards that are in the recent list, which were from that era when she was released originally, which is crazy. Everything else is crew and Aria, Everfest,
Rabble also.
Outsiders, and Rabble, of course. Yeah. Forgot about that one. What was that? Arcane Rising, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah,
because it was Drex on it. Yeah.
Technically also released in Outsiders, but you know.
Yeah,
re-released.
Yeah, so. But it just goes to show that you know she was always a joke hero, and that's the reason why. Is because her card pool was awful back then, despite the fact that we loved the character. Me and Jim started the Azalea cult because we loved the theme and the flavor and some of the massively powerful cards that she had. But she just couldn't get them consistently. Now she can, and that's why you're seeing the power of it now start to come through. Especially with Lexi's ultimate demise.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I actually think the cult wouldn't have really gotten off the ground, or even maybe been mentioned if she wasn't terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that's fair,
why would you
though.
create a cult for like a dominating hero or like even one that's middle good? So
Yeah.
it's kinda
Cult of Chain, you know,
right.
the Starvo, hombres. I don't know.
Cult of the Glory Seekers. No, that wasn't us. We were not seeking any glory, and we have now seen the full arc come through from underdog to calling win, which is just a great journey, right? So, I think that sort of goes well into how like our journey now, really, mine and Jim's at least. We obviously we've loved Azalea as well. Probably not as long as Kel has, because obviously we got into the game. Well, when did you?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, Jim, you start because I think you started with Azalea as well, didn't you? You were there when she began.
Yeah. So I mean, I got in during Welcome to Wraith before Arcane released, and I was mostly playing Katsu at the time, but I didn't. I tried him. I tried Bravo. Like I didn't really like Rhinar. Or Dorinthia. So those were the classes I was kind of messing around with. But I mean, this was the beginning, so like it was still like learning the basics and whatnot. And then as soon as actually Kel spoiled the Ranger Azalea, like I already, because I've mentioned it before, but like I love playing the Ranger class in other games. So mostly like MMO or something like that, but. Yeah. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, that's right up my alley. I'm gonna love this hero. So I attached to her right away. And then when Arcane came out, I tried so hard to play her, and I couldn't figure her out. Like I was just getting smashed. And I kept trying, but like I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna show up at the armory today and just go, 30 life to 0, the whole day. So I did start throwing in dash here and there just to play a little competitively, but I kept like what I did at that point, I was like consuming anybody that was playing her, like any online content or anything like that, just okay, what am I doing wrong, and like and it just turned out no, she's not great. So basically I had a deck, like my deck that I have right now, which is just like Justin's is a form of Levi's, still has cards in it that were in that first deck that I built, like from the generics, and the arcane cards in it are the ones that I had put together initially, and I just kept evolving it over and over and over again as I saw new decks and new strategies. And so it's been with me for a while, so obviously I'm really attached to it. And so I really, for the most part, as soon as I could play her a little more viably, maybe not winning a whole lot, but I was having fun. And so that's when I really started to full-time play her. And I have been for a while. I've been doing some different things in Blitz. I don't always play her in Blitz because she's not quite as fun in Blitz. But I still have a Blitz Azalea version. So
I think she can be like really, really frustrating to play against in Blitz against certain heroes if you do the Memorial Ground basically. Lock. Yeah, so if you do like Red in the Ledger dominate Memorial Ground, Red in the Ledger dominate Memorial Ground, there are certain decks in Blitz you just win if you do that like 3 times in a row.
If you can hit that combo right off the bat, you're golden. But if you don't, depending on who you're playing, you're done. And that's why I think I don't like it. It's too almost preset, like predetermined what's going to happen, and it's not a whole lot of strategy in it.
Yeah, I want to give before we move to I want to give a couple shout outs to some OG Azalea players too, who they might be watching this, they might not be watching this. So a lot of them are actually content creators or just people in the space. So there's Travis from FAB Foundry, one of the OG Azalea fans. There's Joey from Decks and Drafts, another OG Azalea fan. And then
with some great crazy decks, by the way. Like some of his decks are fun, and he does not he does his own thing or whatever with creating them, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then I do believe Dice Commando actually was one of the OG ones as well.
He did do a video. Absolutely.
I remember talking with him like at Monarch pre-release, halfway through COVID. We got like a special kind of like little pre-release thing that we got okayed with. Long story short, we got it okayed with LSS. We get a special like pre-release with the staff of one of our LGSs to teach them how to play. So it was like a pre-release halfway through COVID, and it was like me, Dice Commando, and some other people, Travis from FAB Foundry, and we did like a anyway. We talked about
I actually real quick. I actually went. I flew to Dallas for that pre-release. I'm pretty sure I was actually going home first. Like it was like just kind of coincided. That was the first time I got to meet Steven, DM Armada in person.
Oh yeah.
Because I went to Reaper Games with him for that pre-release. It was a blast. But anyway,
back in the day,
some early
Reaper was one of the
there.
only. One of the only like FAB online retailers back in the day. I
didn't have anybody here in DC that was doing a pre-release, so that's what really made me want to go in there for it. Or well, I say that I did, but it was because it was on a different day, and so I did make it. But yeah. Anyway, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay.
I also met Brendan the first time there.
Brendan Patrick.
There.
Yeah. He's from the area. Yeah. All right, Az. How about you? We've heard Jim's story. We've heard my story. What's your story?
I just when I started the game, I started just before Monarch. So yeah, it was obviously Crew and Arcane Rising before that. So I was not going to play Monarch because of how complicated it was in the grand scheme of the game. Putting cards into the soul, using the banish zone and all this. I was like, nah, light and dark. No, I'm not going to bother with this. I'm going to go back in time and discover the old sets. And one of them that really stood out to me was Arcane Rising. And I've been identified, and you've been identified as having a lot of roots in that set. We were told we were asked to do the Arcane Rising box opening, weren't we, for the German channel?
Yeah.
So it's easily recognizable that Arcane Rising was one of our favorite sets, and rightly so, because there was the big emo viscerae in there with the purple hues and the pure metal. It was like a metal set. It was like the most metal set we've had so far.
What I love about it is like it's a nice contrast with Welcome to Wraith, because Welcome to Wraith has these very like, I don't want to say standard fantasy heroes, but you got like Lady Warrior, you got Ninja guy, you got big buff guy, and then you got like Orc
standard
guy.
Fantasy colors too, like greens, browns, like what you're used to seeing.
And then you got the weird fantasy stuff with Arcane Rising. You got your wizard, you got your weird emo sorcerer guy. Technically it's not a sorcerer, but and then you have your steampunk girl, and then you have she's not an assassin technically, but like she does kill people for a living. So you have like your roguish type character.
Contract killer.
Obviously, I immediately latched onto the roguish type character for obvious reasons. So like, yeah, I Arcane Rising I think still is one of my favorite sets. It's probably still my top 3. Now that Flesh and Blood has
it's hard after Outsiders came out, because I give Outsiders a lot of credit for buffing her, that was her turning point. So like Outsiders, and actually I had a lot of fun playing Outsiders.
I love Limited. Outsiders, man.
So Arcane Rising and Outsiders, like I don't even think I could say which one at this point would be my favorite.
I think my favorite sets are Arcane Rising, Outsiders, and Dynasty. Maybe not in that order. Maybe it's Outsiders, Arcane Rising, Dynasty, but those are my 3 favorite sets. I think I love them. They're so great.
Actually, I didn't think so, but this the current one,
Bright Lights.
Bright Lights, is up there for me.
Really?
And the reason why is Crack Shuffle play. I had so much fun when we did that.
Oh, it's so good. I love it so much.
Anyway, that one's up there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good shout. And but going back to Arcane Rising, you're exactly right with regards to the weird fantasy characters, and that's exactly what draws me in, because I'm weird and I like to embrace that. But yeah, sort of.
Well, we all love you, dude.
Exactly right. A lady dressed in leather, it's just got to be the one, really. And I also gravitated towards her story and the fact that she was the underdog and that she was doing rubbish at the time. She was garbage. Nobody wanted to play with her apart from us at the time, and we stuck with it. And obviously that's when the Azalea cult came about, and I think that was just after Everfest, maybe before Uprising. We started that.
I'm pretty sure, because it was the summer after the Everfest, or when Everfest came out, because when I really started leaning into it, I was on my family vacation to Disney, and I was doing the thing where I had brought an
I
Azalea
remember this
card with me, and I was like taking her photo in different parts of Disney World, and tagging it with Azalea Cult just because, it was fun to like kind of get people excited about her, basically.
Yeah.
And it worked because that got us talking, and that's what started the Azalea cult. And then it's a worldwide phenomenon at this stage. Everybody knows the cult. even Justin, right, who had never been on Go Again Gaming before, or never knew of the channel. He knew of the cult regardless because of how widespread it.
It's been mentioned by LSS even. So like the last event in Baltimore that I went and had James sign some more of the Azalea Cult cards. I gave him a shirt too, and he held up the shirt. We did a photo, and he commented on how he thought cool it was. He thought the cult was, kind of how close.
Has he got a shirt? Has James got a shirt? Has he?
He does.
Oh, sick. Because I saw Josh Scott had one, didn't he? Because I saw him wearing it.
Yes, really? Josh Scott. Yeah, I gave most of the LSS employees that were there. I gave them shirts in Baltimore.
Oh,
nice.
Sick.
I do have the Azalea Cult shirt, and then I also have a Go Again Gaming shirt that's different from the Azalea Cult shirt, but it's still kind of close. So I got both.
Nice.
Both.
I'm not Red Zone Rogue shirt.
I'm not wearing it today. I'm just wearing I'm just wearing Cowboy Bebop, but I do have it.
I'm actually wearing Doom.
Oh, right. Nice.
Nice. I didn't think about it. I should have put on the cult shirt.
I didn't think about it either. Now I realized it, but I think it's actually dirty because I wore it a couple days ago. Anyway.
I wore it on the Justin interview, so I can't really wear it, 3 days in a row. I wore it yesterday.
I mean, you can. What's your dedication? What's your dedication to the cult?
It's only on webcam, so nobody can smell.
If you want to channel the pits, then you wear it 3 times.
Yeah.
Channel Mount Pit. Channel the pit.
Channel Mount Pits. Nice.
Each hero gets a smelly counter. Anyway,
this is the exact kind of vibes that I figured this talk would be in. So I think if people want hey, when did Azalea get good? I think it was pretty clearly Outsiders, right? Before Outsiders, she popped up here and there, maybe at like a skirmish or whatever, but nothing like really substantial until Outsiders. And even in Outsiders, she felt like this is the way I like to think about it. She's like the bridesmaid and never the bride, right? She was good, and everyone was like, "Oh, Azalea's good," but then she never won any event. She never converted. She had a lot of top 8s at various callings and other things, but she never actually won until just a couple days ago, where she actually won the calling, which is kind of amazing. And to see Azalea go from that, and not only that, she beat Nick Butcher playing Dromai in the finals, and Dromai traditionally not one of her best matchups.
Exactly. And obviously Nick, an amazing player too.
For sure. So it's awesome. And when you look at that top 8, there's a lot of, really skilled Flesh and Blood players. So it's not like it was like an easy win or anything like that. This is a legitimate, carved through all of the, the top tier competitors.
If folks haven't seen that game, they need to watch it. It was a really good game.
Yeah, I would say just watch all 3 rounds of Azalea in the top 8. Really, really interesting. I think, did she win? I don't have the spread, but I feel that she played against an Icelander too, right? I don't remember exactly off the top of my head.
The matches that Justin said were on the stream, the Legend Story Studios stream, I think were Katsu, Dory, Lexi, and Dromai were feature matches that he was on during those days, which you can go and see on the Flesh and Blood YouTube channel. I believe.
You may be thinking of Brody's against the Icelander match.
I might be thinking of that. Okay, here I have it. So he played against Reinar. So in the top 8.
Reinar, that's it.
I'll just run down the entire top 8, just the heroes. Yeah. So we have Lexi, Bravo, Azalea, Reinar, Lexi, Uzuri. By the way, I want to see that Uzuri list. And then Dromai, and then Lexi. So 3 Lexis, and then like a nice smattering. So the top 8 was actually pretty diverse, to be honest. There's 3 Lexis, but the other 5 people were playing different classes and heroes, which is super cool. So Azalea's path up against Reinar round 1, obviously won. Then Lexi round 2, and then against Dromai in the finals. So beat a Rhinar, beat a Lexi, and then beat Dromai. I honestly think, as someone who played a lot of Lexi against playing a lot of Azalea, I think Azalea is like not one of the easy matchups for Lexi, because like if they can hit you with those red in the ledgers, like just destroys your turn.
Takes away the
thing
vote.
As well. Like
advantage.
Azalea can pretty well like put out a lot of damage, and Lexi doesn't want to block because she's just a hero that likes to race. So if you hit them with red in the ledgers and stuff, and hamstring shots and other things as well. Justin didn't have hamstring shots in this list, but it's one of the things that he considered putting into it. Anything that messes around with their action point economy, to quote Brian Gottlieb, Lexi absolutely hates, because you don't want to get, as soon as you get Lexi blocking, the same as Phi. As soon as you get Phi blocking, you're in a winning position.
Sad times. You're very sad if you're blocking. Yeah, you're
blocking. Yeah.
Like, why would I be blocking with this crap if I can just shoot it at your face? I should just be shooting it at your face.
Exactly. So Azalea really punishes people that don't want to block. So if you find yourself in those, against those heroes that want to race you, even if you're not blocking, you're getting punished by red in the ledger. Especially when you can codex it back and do all of this. You get, codex is the consistency that we needed.
Better memorial ground.
It is. Yeah.
Codex is just like crazy good.
Ponders as well. Ponders another thing that smooths over the Azalea game, because then you've got a skull bone set up for next turn.
Yeah, premeditate. It's pretty.
Premeditate. Yeah.
Essentially, your arsenal can become the top card of your deck, so you can filter the cards that you've got. Justin was actually saying, so all of these little points are on the Azalea cult video as well, but Justin was basically saying that because of Death Dealer, you are essentially an intellect 5 hero, which you are because you can access 5 cards all the time, even if you don't have an arsenal, because you pitch and draw a card, so you've got 5 cards all the time. And that's it's a crazy point, but then that's just Death Dealer. So even Riptide could be intellect 5.
Yeah, so, but Riptide doesn't have like red in the ledger or knock the death whistle though. No, he's got some weird jank where he gives your opponents tokens. His traps are good, but like they're not as good.
I love, by the way, too, that it's Death Dealer still right now, like the OG bow. Like,
drawing a card is like that. It's just good.
It is. It's really good.
And I think that's why actually you see a lot more blues in Azalea decks as people have come to refine the Azalea lists, because before you saw a lot of like red line Azalea lists, but I think the blues are so important with Death Dealer, because
blue and yellow.
Yeah, like because you pitch it, you immediately replace it, and you still have 2 resources floating. So it's like you have a full grip of cards, but then also 2 resources at the same time. So yeah,
there's if you look at the list, the Justin list, which is available on the FABTCG.com website, it's there's a lot of resources there. You got a lot of yellows because of Codex, Deadeye, Rain Razors. Tar Pit Trap was something that Justin put in instead of things like Fateful Scene and Sink Below, because they're reds. So one of his argument was it was a yellow block 3 that also hoses Lexi when it defends an attack with Go Again.
He was running a Sink Below.
He's running a couple.
I think he's running a few.
Yeah, he's running 2, I think.
Yeah, 2 of them. You're right.
But I think Fateful Scene and the other Sink Belows came out, and some other things.
Yeah, no Fateful Scene.
Out of Levi's list, at least. But
interesting.
Oh yeah, and we haven't really mentioned Levi much yet. We probably should still, because Justin gave him a lot of credit. Obviously, it was his base list, and then he apparently consulted with him quite a bit during practice and everything. And Levi has been, I'd say, one of the biggest pioneers in bringing her up to a competitive level, with multiple great, finishes to Battle Hardens and some of the bigger tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely one of the folks that you'd see, actually trying to run Azalea at a lot of the early tournaments where people just completely wrote her off. You'd have 1 or 2 Azaleas, and they were one of them.
Steamroll up to the top tables, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
But once again, if you want to see like the full list, and if you want to see Justin talk about it, definitely go check out Az's video on Gogan Gaming, where they go really, really in depth into the list here. That's one of the reasons.
It's nice to do a little kind of Living Legends, kind of Azalea cult video today, because Jim wasn't able to do that video with me, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I've been out sick, unfortunately, and I'm still, as you may have noticed, I've muted a couple times to cough. I'm still kind of coming up, but I feel fine. But yeah, unfortunately, didn't get to join.
Yeah, it was hard.
I was actually,
it as well.
We had talked about me doing a video. Az and I had talked about like me just doing a separate video to like ask a question and to splice it in. And I was feeling so bad, like I crashed the night before before I could even remember to do it, and it was rough.
I did have a couple people ask me. They're like, "Are you gonna do an Azalea video with like Az or someone?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, I got something planned already." Like,
nice.
So I guess. We've been at this for about a half hour so far. I guess I'll end on, unless you have any other things to say. Where do you guys think Azalea goes from here, and what is the future of the Azalea cult? Like, do you think with this win, does it catapult Azalea to like S tier, hero, meta hero? She's going to be in all of the top lists. She's going to be the top ranked in DM Armada's next pro tier list meta video, or is she just this kind of like a one and done kind of thing, or what do you guys think?
I think it's probably somewhere in between that. Like, I don't think, I don't think she's going to be immediately S tier. What I do think is going to be interesting is when if they do, they kind of hinted at giving her the bullseye bracers back. If they do,
they are giving it back for sure. They said it's going to be unbanned when Lexi.
So that's going to make it even more interesting, I think. Although people seem to be doing fine with the bracers of belief. However, still think there's a little extra edge with the bullseye bracers.
Oh, bullseye is like way better. Like bracers gives you like +2 or +1. Bullseye always gives you +1 and a free reload. So it's just like, I don't know. It just and arcane barrier as well.
You can do tricks.
Yeah, it just feels like way better. Bracers of belief is like, I feel like you just have to do it. You just like grin and bear it kind of situation where it's just like, you
had to pick something.
Yeah, take your medicine. Here, use your stupid bracers.
What do you think, Az?
There's a couple of little nice applications you can use with the Braces of Belief, but I just think that Bullseye is always going to be better, and Justin said that as well. He thinks Braces of Belief is a fun card. There's a couple of cool things that he did with it on the streams as well with regards to pumping up, because Braces of Belief doesn't just pump up an arrow, it pumps up any attack that comes after it. So he actually used it to pump up a E-strike to kill a Yenderai, which was quite nice. But yeah, I think Bullseye Bracers, because of the AB that's always on board, you don't have to waste a slot for Nullrune Gloves. So that'll be something that comes out of Justin's list, or Azalea lists in general. So that's nice. And then obviously the free reload is something which is always nice and flexible, because you can still threaten a huge Bolton shot, because even if they don't let it hit, you can then just put something else into it afterwards and then fire it. So it's also like a pressure piece as well, which is nice, which Braces of Belief is not. So yeah, it's going to be nice to see what happens with that. But I don't know. I think depending on how Dallas goes, I didn't see any Azaleas on the stream in Dallas when I tuned in today.
Not so far. Yeah.
That's because I'm not on coverage. If I was there, I'd be like, find whoever's playing Azalea, get them on the stream.
They have been putting on lesser seen heroes, so good on them for that.
That's what we try to do. So like generally when we do coverage like that,
because you're gonna see all the meta heroes in the top tables. So
yeah, well, like we just want to make it entertaining. The whole point of the coverage is just to make it entertaining for the viewers out there. That's like really what it boils down to. You want to be informational, but you also want to make it entertaining. And so like the people running the events almost always are like, they're like, hey, what do you guys think? Who should we have on stream? Either if they're like a big name in Flesh and Blood, or if like if the Kano is like 5-0 or something, we're like, get the Kano on stream. That kind of stuff. And so like anytime I see Azalea, and personally I love Assassin as well, so anytime I see any Assassin, it's always Azuri, because Arachne kind of sucks right now. Arachne's the new Azalea, by the way. But anytime I see that, I'm just like, get him on stream. I should make a video just call Arachne's the new Azalea, because like that's so true. If you weren't around, I think this is a good point. If you weren't around in the old days with Azalea, the way that we felt about Azalea and everyone felt is the way everyone feels about Arachne right now.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Great comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. Except
good,
Arachne.
Good analog for anybody that wasn't around then.
Except Arachne doesn't have like baller specializations like Azalea does. Arachne has like a cool specialization, a really, really cool specialization. It's just not good. So, I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of royal Dromai running around at the moment. There's a lot of royal Dromai, so maybe Regicide is just you must block this royal Dromai.
Yeah, but then they block it, then you die because if they blocked it, you lose the game.
But then they die. But then you die. Yeah. So at least you can go out on your own terms, which is always a plus. Anyway.
That's true. That's true. You get caught by the Emperor, and then you get flogged in front of everyone.
And you get flogged.
Yeah.
You get flogged by Yoji, who's holding a giant burrito and shoving it down your throat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just whacking you with the other end of his pole arm. So I think we just kind of rambled a bunch, but that's about that. Like, I just want to say, like, yeah, it's been wild to see Azalea kind of like have this roller coaster down for a very long time, just down in the dumps, down in the pits, absolutely just out of it, and then this kind of like a little bit of a slow rise, and then we have like outsiders, boom, Azalea's good, and then everyone's like, Azalea's gonna be the best character in the game, and then she was like doing pretty good, but not the best character in the game. That was arguably Lexi. People could probably argue about like Iceland or something else as well, but
Justin Politzer to winning a calling, and now she looks like my playmat back here. She's celebrating.
Yeah, she's just chilling.
Life.
Yeah, and I think that's the potential that Azalea always had, right? Those of us who've been around for a while always said, and I've already harped on it a lot, but best specializations in the game. We didn't really talk about the ranger tax. That's just something that generally rangers have to deal with because they have to funnel all of their attacks most of the time through their bow, which costs 1 unless you're running redliner, which no one really runs redliner.
We had a lot of suggestions when we ran kind of like the create a card episodes. And a lot like the thing was getting a melee weapon, like a side arm, a side crossbow or dagger or something, just to try to help fix that tax. Like, because sometimes it was too taxing. Yeah.
But turns out, getting some extra, equipment slots with your quiver, and then also getting like
extra ways to bring arrows on top of your deck, basically.
Yeah, and then Death Dealer is just really good. Drawing cards is like really, really good in Flesh and Blood. Turns out in a game where you only draw 4 cards a turn, you have only 4-card hand size, getting an extra card is like really good.
Right. Or basically, and then you put 25% of the Welcome to Wraith generics in your deck, and you're good.
Yeah, just play like Easter egg and CNC forehead. Just do it. Yeah, I hope to see, this is way off base, I hope to see a Command, not a Command & Conquer, Easter egg reprint sometime soon. I have a feeling Easter egg is going to be one of the cards that'll go up and up in price, because I think so many decks run it, Azalea included. Like you just run Easter. You just need your Easter eggs. It's like Tunic.
They haven't reprinted Easter egg. I mean, it did in the history, didn't they?
Only in history pack. Yep.
Yeah, history packs. Yeah.
But like compared to like Fandom Spring Tunic, which was reprinted, so Welcome to Wraith, Crew, history pack, and then we also had it in Bright Lights as well. So like Tunic's.
Well, if Easter egg gets up to the prices that Tunic did, then I'm sure they will.
Tunics are down like $60. I think Easter eggs are up and up.
Mission accomplished.
I think it costs more to get your playset of Easter eggs than to buy a Tunic now. Like
the playset? 100%.
Yeah. So, and I think every Flesh and Blood player needs more or less needs a playset of Easter eggs. Maybe if you play like only Guardian or only Brood or something, you might not, but even then, I don't know. There might be an argument. Anyway, we're in the weeds. We're in the weeds.
just to bring it back to Azalea briefly on E-Strike. Justin was talking to Brody apparently about E-Strike, and it's that he made a good point in the fact that it's always good, but it's never great, was what he said. It's just a card that glues some certain turns together, but it's not an arrow. You can also include other things, like Brody included things like Memorial Ground in his list. Justin didn't. So you could always go down the route of trying to sort of make it more synergistic rather than have just good but never great cards in your deck. So something that I'm going to be messing around with is taking it out just to see if you can fit more arrows or more memorial grounds or more degenerate stuff into the deck instead. But yeah, it's always a great card.
Good filler, essentially. Like it's
just a
solid
just
card
a filler.
To
it's really good.
play when you don't have a good arrow hand.
I think that just
exactly.
says to just how good Easter Egg is. If it is like still good enough to be played in a deck that wants arrows. Because in decks that don't want arrows, just regular cards, it's just like so good.
So it's good but never great is what the takeaway was. It could, it always glues some stuff together, but you could want to see something else perhaps on some turns. But yeah, that's that, I guess.
I love that we were trying to end and then we got back into the deck profile.
Right?
No, exactly. Yeah.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. Well. This video is like 40 minutes long. I figured it'd be like 15, but this is how it goes. Talking about
you can't just dedicate 15 minutes to our supreme leader.
Can't.
Yeah.
Praise be. No, absolutely
yeah,
not.
exactly.
Praise be.
Yeah, you got to get the praise bees in at least a couple times.
Even Justin said praise be. I was so surprised at the very end of the video. He said praise be. I'm like, holy hell, he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe we'll end it on this. Maybe we'll end it on this. I think Azalea and the Azalea cult in particular have become one of like the predominant fandoms in Flesh and Blood. If you think about like subcategories of fandoms in card games in general, for Flesh and Blood, you have your brute nation. You have like your League of Levi, which is also a brute. So brutes just really love their things. And then outside of that, not really much else other than the Azalea cult. And I think the Azalea cult is the one, at least personally, maybe it's because I'm into Azalea myself, but it's the one that I see like more often than not. I have a feeling that with heavy hitters coming around, we're going to see a lot more brute nation stuff, but but
yeah.
But like I think it's a testament to the character of Azalea, just as a character, not even in terms of like power level, like meta game power level, that the Azalea cult has become, I think, one of the predominant, if not the predominant, like sub fandom in Flesh and Blood, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And the whole, just another thing as well, this is just what happens on these episodes, especially when you talk about Azalea, as you said, you just carry on and on and on. But the arc really follows the character's story of being the underdog and then finally coming out on top, like David versus Goliath, all of this. That's another reason why psychologically, we like these characters, because they have a underdog to champion story, which is a nice arc for any hero to go on. And they're not just Starver, where they come out of the gate smashing left, right, and centre. It's from dust to to the absolute heavens almost of the arc. So,
and I don't think we answered part of your last question to us. I do think the cult absolutely will continue on whenever she does get good, or is in the top, because we're well established now, and it's such a fun and interesting way to enjoy her that I don't think her being good's gonna drop it. As soon as Outsiders came out, we got a lot of like messages like, "Oh, is the cult gonna break up? Oh, no more cult or whatever." I was like, "No, it's gonna get stronger. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'd love to have you guys on when Azalea, hits Living Legend, right? Like if she continues to win and then she's Living Legend, we'll have a special, video talking about Azalea Living Legend. Yeah. Maybe we'll get like little clips from community members, or I'm just giving you guys ideas for Azalea cult. Just clips from community members saying like, talking about Azalea or whatever.
Yeah, do a little send off message. Love it.
Yeah, and you have like the music like, "I will remember you."
Yeah, there's like little collage or like different flashes.
And one of the clips is just Az praying to his Azalea shrine. He's just like, yeah.
Make it with that like Apple iMovie, generic thing that everybody uses for family videos. Like, do something like that.
Another one is Jim walking out. It's just like a top-down shot from like a second-story room, and you see Jim walk onto the lawn, and he pulls out this boombox and just holds it up.
Little Cusack.
Yeah. Only old people will know that. Get that reference. Yeah. But thanks for coming on, guys. It's been a really fun chat talking about Azalea. I think I have some good names for this video. Before we go, I guess I'll give y'all a shot to shill your content. We've already told people to go watch Az's video talking to Justin about the deck. So let's start with Az. Az, where can people find you if they would like more of your mulletly goodness?
Yeah, so mullet and mustache combo over on Go Again Gaming, or Twitter is Go Again Gaming AZ. But yeah, the Azalea cult as well is over there. That's where me and Jim normally sort of converse about all things Azalea. Obviously not this time round, unfortunately, but in the future you'll see us again, probably from a hotel room in London or something when we do an event there.
Live from a Witherspoons. That's got to happen at some point.
Witherspoons, yeah. We'll set up a streaming deck next time, and there we go. Yeah, Go Again Gaming. That's pretty much it. And the Living Legends podcast, obviously, which is on Red Zone Rogue.
Yo, and also not just on Red Zone Rogue, it's on all of the podcast things of your choice. Most of them. It's on like Apple and Google and.
It's actually how I
Spotify.
usually listen to it is through my phone podcast.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's what I love to hear, honestly, because I don't want to talk about that too much, but it was kind of a little experiment for us because I've never done like a podcast, like a audio only podcast, and we have regularly about 700 to 800 listeners, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So if you like podcasts,
sponsors now too.
yes. We have a. Well, it's the same sponsor. It's just we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the podcast. We'll talk about the podcast. Yeah. How about you, Jim? Where can people find you and your store and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'm on the Azalea cult. That's where you'll predominantly find me on YouTube, on Az's channel. On Twitter, I'm fairly active on the handle at FABTCG cards. And then that's obviously there to really help support the store, which is FABTCGcards.com.
Yeah, I recommend checking them out. If I have singles that I need to buy, I'm not even lying. This is not shilling. I asked Jim. Like right now, I think Jim has 2 out of the 3 rainbow foil already deads that I need, and once he gets his third one, I'm
not looking good to pull the third one, but we'll see.
Well, maybe we'll pull the trigger at some point. I'll just buy it from TCG Player.
Yeah, I still have a couple more because when I got sick, I wasn't opening. But I only got a couple more cases right now, unless I buy more product. You might only have 2.
Well, I'll find the other one.
Yeah.
For my full rainbow foil Uzuri deck. Hey, by the way, I need to ask you about codexes. Do you have any rainbow foil codexes? Oh, no, we'll talk about this later. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us for this conversation today. This almost 50-minute long conversation about Azalea and her history. And I think I'm going to call this video something along the lines of "From Meme to Queen" or something like that. So you'll know if I changed it. If you're in the future, you'll know if I changed the title if it's not that. But thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content.
Cheers.
Oh, also praise be.
Praise be.
Praise be, baby.